must we give in return? Everything.
You know guys, one of the cool things about the Filmmaker React series is that I can always depend on you to go through your comments on what to react to next. And one of those things, you guys let me know that there are 1 or 2 more World of Warcraft cinematics, which I was really excited about because World of Warcraft was in the first 5 episodes and it was one of the reasons we surpassed 100k on the channel, so it's really sick to go back to it. Last week I received my PS5 and I finally got to play FF7 Remake, which is one of my favorite games, and I was so blown freaking away by it. I'm not sure if you guys have played it, but oh my freaking god. So one of my friends suggested of me to ask you guys if you would like me to watch me play some of those games on PS5. So let me guys know in the description if that's something you would be interested in, and I would have a look, because man, especially in the end of FF7 and what was happening and the boss fights, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it was insane. Now speaking about games and epic boss fights guys, today's episode is brought to you guys by Raid Shadow Legends. If you ever wanted to have a AAA game experience and dive into it and play anywhere and anytime, then Raid is the game for you guys. And you can also play it on desktop if you want to. From 10 epic dungeons with sick boss fights to take on, to 12 story campaign locations, each unique with their own challenges to face, to 13 powerful factions to find your favorite champions and fighting styles, which by the way, there are 460 champion characters to choose from. Combine all of that with 25 million players worldwide, as well as over 200,000 active clans to enter with your friends and join, Raid is a heck of a roller coaster gaming ride to join. I personally really like the diversity of characters that really can suit everyone's playstyle. I'm a double blade guy myself, as well as all the sick boss fights. Having some, if not the best, mobile graphics and animation also helps. Last month, Raid released their biggest expansion to date, which is called the Doom Tower. It is a sick 120 level floor beast full of secrets, challenges and 12 of the most badass bosses to encounter. There has never been a better time to join Raid, and here is the best part. The Raid team is giving away a bunch of goodies for you guys, as well as a sick special champion, Warlord, to tackle the Doom Tower. All you need to do to get these awesome rewards is click the link in the description, and as a new player, you're gonna get your free Void Champion Bulwark, 50 gems, 1 XP booster, some energy fields, as well as an ancient shard. You're gonna have all of this the moment you start the game in your inbox in the upper corner. But be fast guys, because the rewards are only gonna be available for the next 30 days for new players. So hit the link in the description, have Raid downloading in the background guys, and let's fire YouTube and check out today's World of Warcraft cinematic. Here we go, full screen, and 1, 2, 3. Blood, gore, crude humor. Haven't seen that for like, I don't know. Yes. This is epic already. Man, it gives me Lord of the Rings vibes. 35 years ago. Tasty.
Drink, Hellstream.
Hellstream.
Claim your destiny. You will all be conquerors. And what Gul'dan must we give in return?
Everything.
Everything.
What did it cost? He's not gonna do it. Yep. He's scared, man. What is it? What is that?
And did you bring these mongrels here just to watch you die?
I was gonna say burn, but okay. Ooh. Ooh. Let's go. Nice. Run, boy. Use those muscles. What is that? Oh, that's how you go for the head. Firaga? Like, what was that? Ooh, he dead. He dead. Ugh. His blood is almost like the liquid thing.
This was not our destiny. Times change.
Fair game. What happened to that guy? The leader of... Oh, okay, fair.
We will never be slaves.
Fair.
But we will be conquerors.
Does that... Wait. Sick. 2014. Dear man. Shit. Okay. Like the cinematic awesomeness, like this video as well, guys. It always helps. Now, in order to be conquerors, you need to enslave. So that's actually interesting. You don't want to be the one that's the slave, but you want to slave others. Interesting. That was pretty good, guys. Not on par with some of the other World of Warcraft cinematics, but still, that was really sick. Pretty cool. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Is it like Warlords of Draenor? 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 Yeah, okay. Let me guys know in the description, in the comment section, what is up with all this, because this takes place 35 years ago, so I'm sure it doesn't really have to do anything with the current timeline. By the way, guys, I know that the Sylvana expansion was out. Did you actually beat her ass in the game? Let me know as well. So I'm not sure who this guy is, because at first I thought it may be the classic guy, but it wasn't. So interesting. That was pretty cool. So let's go back and talk about some filmmaking stuff and visual effects and take it from there. Did it just autoplay by itself? But that was pretty good actually. I'm happy about myself. So Blizzard Entertainment. The soundtrack really Blizzard Entertainment presents. So a few things here. The soundtrack. Usually Blizzard does not open with the soundtrack directly. Their openings are a bit softer with more like ambient sound. But here the soundtrack instantly puts you in the mood. I'm not sure about all the instruments used, but the best way I can explain it is basically it takes you to the Lord of the Rings era. You know what I mean? And the soundtrack really leads with this one. I've talked about the importance of sound several times before. But the other thing that's interesting to me is that they used the Blizzard Entertainment twice in consequence, which first is that goldish logo which says Blizzard Entertainment, and then right after, when we have the actual visual opening shot, you have the title on top of that, and it says Blizzard Entertainment Presents, being the different kind of like title. Personally, I'm a fan of not boring the audience about the studios. Now, don't get me wrong, the studio names must be there because a lot of money. But when you have your logo, let's say Creatrix Visuals, and then the next shot, which is the reveal shot, the first scene we've seen, I put Creatrix Visuals Presents again. I think that's kind of like a bit pointless for the audience's sake. So my preference would be to show that once, but that's how they choose to do it. Very interesting. Now they open with the classic, very cool drone bird's eye view that we talked about, which is interesting because they choose to look from the downwards view and tilt it up to reveal the horizon. I did it completely in reverse when it came to the God of War short film. I opened with the horizon and I tilted it down to connect with the characters. Really cool. So we have the 35 years ago, very sick. I like this shot because it's as if we are basically guided by the guy's flame torch as the audience. It's almost as if we're following the frame, and then we're introduced to this kind of like ceremonial ground where we can see kind of like, you know, the classic guy that does the ceremony, and there are some things going on. So that was a cool shot actually. We're a bit further away from the ceremony and we're gonna jump into afterwards, but this gives us the opportunity for us, the audience, to understand where everything takes place. Once we have that shot, the wide shot, then we can jump in and really pay attention to the characters, their expression, and what's happening. He's not happy, man.
Hellstream.
It's
Claim your destiny.
not creepy at all. When someone is like, here, drink this, and all your dreams are gonna become true. You're like, I'm not too sure about that, bro. So, very interesting things here.
You will all be conquered.
I think he's with him, actually. Anyways, a few cool things here. One, the thing that tips him off is the word conqueror, which plays a big role apparently, because at the end he said we're not going to be slaves, we're going to be conquerors, which is really interesting. But I want you, it's very interesting that this drink, the magic, whatever he's about to drink, has some form of energy, because the drink itself is illuminating the character. Now this reminds me of a very of a bit of an oldie when it came to one of my VFX short concepts, which I think was called Soul Blade. The actual scene did not make in the final short VFX animation, but it was in the before and after BTS breakdown, and in there I had the blade, and the blade had energy itself, and that blade, because of the energy, it was illuminating my face in the same hue as the energy itself. Now of course here is done properly because this is animated, but then I didn't actually have an LED, so that effect, which is similar to this one, was done in post-production digitally completely. But the best part would be if you could have an LED and someone would light that LED into the actor's face to have the same effect. It's really cool, and I'm interested. It just reminded me of that. So basically, you can cheat your way with post-production tricks, or you can do it with an LED. What they would usually do, for example, in this one, you would throw some, waterproof LED lights in the glass, and the glass is not see-through, so that would work perfect. And then you would not even need an LED. The LEDs would be in the glass container itself, and it would actually illuminate the same. You would need to be quite a few of them because you need quite a bright light, but that would be a cool way.
What?
So he's like, nope. He's like, you fool.
Everything.
A really cool thing to notice is sound design in this scene. It happens all the time, by the way. And once you notice it, you will start noticing it all over the place, guys. They use a very high intensity riser in this situation, and what the riser does is it rises and rises and makes that sound effect of like until it reaches its high point. And when it reaches the high point, you want something to happen, whether it is a character decision, like in this case, or whether it is a thing that happens, or even a realization, or things like this, and it really propels the story forward. I did the same thing. If you guys watch my short film Paragon Reloaded, and you pay attention to the sound design, you will really get the impact and the significance of it, because I really went full in when it came to sound designing the Paragon sound. And it's a really good example, in my opinion, of how sound can be utilized in the same way with risers. Then you have that dead silent beat just for a second, and then a bass drop comes in. And it really helps when it comes to your projects, guys. And then that creepy laughter, and then this guy is scared. So they really build the tension of what's coming. Again, you have this, it seems like a clash between orc factions, basically. These guys seem dark and using dark magic of some sorts, but their colors is very heavily on that green, more yellowish green, like almost like lime color, versus the other guys. When the war begins, they have very warm tones, one because they use fire, etc. But basically is the green energy versus fire, which is the contrasting colors and the contrast between the orc factions themselves, which is really cool. Yeah, a smoother riser in this one, but they use the riser in this one as well. You know, that is sick, man. You can do this with energy particles pre-simulated and then compose them in. But the interesting thing that I'm seeing here is the way they move the camera. Now, it's very impactful because of the cuts and the music. Okay, I would say I didn't used to do this. I used to think that a very stabilized shot on something like a gimbal, whether it is action or not action, was the thing that would sell something being cinematic because of that fluid motion, because most people do not understand how camera operation works, and usually if they try to film something, it's a shaky mess. But I used to think that a very smooth kind of floating camera when it comes to action is really good, and I found that it's not really the case. I'm a big fan of handheld motion. Now, there is a difference between handheld and shaky cam. Filmmakers use shaky cam in order to hide things, whether it is to hide poor visual effects or hide actors not really being up to the tasks to do the fight moves and the action that is required of them. Many reasons. But I find myself through the feedback from Star Wars Duel of the Force, as well as God of War. Now, in God of War, we really wanted to express the game camera feel. That's why we wanted the camera to kind of float through space as it does in the game. But I found out that it really kind of like robs the impact of the action from the audience, and it kind of creates a stale feel when it comes to it, versus, again, if you guys watch Paragon Reloaded, you can really see the difference between my short films. In Paragon, you have this really close-up, handheld feel, almost like Captain America Winter Soldier, and that kind of handheld feel, I personally feel, It puts you right into it, and that motion, the natural handheld motion, really exemplifies and extends the action that's happening. Here, they mostly use smooth shots with a bit of motion in them. I think, and it might be my eyes that, you know, I've seen so many things through the years, that I would like something more motion to occur. Now we have the really cool breaking sound to put a tiny bit of slow motion in as the character goes through the flames to hit the final hit. A really epic scene. It's really cool because the particles of that kind of green energy start shooting through his body. What is this, man? Firaga? Like... sick. Yeah, I don't know if you guys know, but when you have energy things happening, whether it is the sun, an explosion, or some other form of energy burst, and you want to transition, you should always use white, because we're talking about an energy burst. And energy has power in it, and it blinds you, hence the transition to a white solid that will then fade out to the next scene. Another very common transition is fade to black, but that is for different things. When you have energy and big blasts happening and you want to use a transition, use a white solid, exposure, bring it up, cut to a white solid, and then fade that solid out to the next scene. Very cool. Even his blood is green, man.
This was not our destiny. Times change.
Where have I seen this line? Isn't it from The Witcher that he said the same line, I think? Times change. Again, the soundtrack really leads the cinematic forward. And now comes kind of like the character, you know, that moment when the character wins and he's gonna say something. And I really think it's very interesting when she says, we're not gonna be slaves, we're gonna be the one that conquer. That's really interesting. Another cool thing is that the final shot is almost the same as the opening shot, in the sense that the movement is the same. We start from the ground, tilting up to the horizon to reveal what's coming. In the first shot, it was night. And in this shot is basically dawn with the change.
But we will be conquerors.
Sick. I like the title as well. That's really sick. Now, what is interesting is, as I was going through the comments, one of you guys told me that this is a sick cinematic, but the actual gameplay or something sucked, which I think is really interesting. It always sucks when you have a teaser, a cinematic of some sort, whether it is a movie or a game, and you're so pumped about it, and then you play the thing or watch the thing, and it's just not up to the task. So let me guys know what was up with the story. I know this takes place, as I understand it, before everything else. So as always, guys, let me know in the comment section what's happening. I think the next cinematic we're going to react to is going to be Apex Legends, because you guys liked the one we did, and I've only done one, so I think it's time for a second one. And check out Raid, guys. It's a cool game if you're into this kind of game, and they've been supporting the channel for quite a while now, so check them out as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Stay awesome and creative, and let me know about, I don't know, Filmmaker plays Final Fantasy or Miles Morales or anything, if you guys would be into that, and we'll see what we'll do. Stay awesome and creative, guys.